Giving someone an ID upon their release would let them know that, hey, we want to set you up for success and not failure. We want to be a part of the solution and not the problem.
When you don't have access to an identification card, but yet you're returning to your community to become a proactive citizen, to become a productive citizen, and you're not given the basic human right of identification card, it symbolizes that you don't have the rights that the rest of us have.
I just wish there was, some way I could have got that ID before I got out of jail. Like, that would have saved me so much despair and desperation and just feeling like I can't do it.
I had nothing when I got out. I didn't have any clothes, I didn't have no money. All they gave me was a bus ticket and said, take care, report to your parole officer in 24 hours. So that's a huge challenge for me, was how do I get an ID? I don't have 3 forms of identification to show you who I am. I don't even have an address to show you where I live. So how do I get an ID?
It's the basic form of life. You have to have that to get anything done. And it's so, you would think it's so simple.
I had to have an ID to get a job. I had to have a social security card, and I didn't have any of these things. I needed the ID to get into the halfway house.
To me, it means life or death. It means whether I'm going to succeed or fail. It's like somebody else telling me no. Now, I just came from a place where everybody was saying no, wait, hold up. And now I get out, and it's supposed to be my freedom. And here I am again, bumping my head and running into closed doors again. And this is supposed to be my opportunity to get out and restart my life.
Previous thinking was they serve their time, you put them out the door, and society expects that they are going to be successful. They're not going to reoffend. They're going to pay their child support and their court cost, and everything's just going to be great. But what we realize now, we're not giving them what they need to be successful.
It's very important and vital that a person be already properly armed with the things that they need to succeed.
They expect us to come back. That's what they've told us. That's what I've been told on so many different forms. We'll see you soon.
I have seen it over and over again. I can't tell you how many people have gotten out and come right back. Just today, a good guy that I know, he's a good guy, but when you get out of here with nothing, like I said earlier, you fall right back into that lifestyle, and it's a snowball effect, and then you're right back here.
How do you expect me to be successful getting out if I can't find work, if I can't support myself, if I can't even get an ID? It's basically just saying, you know what, see ya. Take care, and it's just a revolving door. It's like you're a name, you're a number, and you're a dollar sign.
We say recidivism, we want to cut down, and it's like, do we really want to cut down on that? Because if we did, why are these doors closing for these people?
I used to think it was ridiculous. I was kind of like everybody else. Why? They've come here 20 times in the last 10 years. I don't feel sorry for them anymore. And, I'm so used to it or whatever, but now I get it. No IDs, you don't have a car, you can't buy a car, you can't do anything. They have no money.
If we can all partner together and make that more readily accessible, then the chance of them reoffending obviously is less. And so anybody in corrections that's not fighting against the recidivism rate is not in the ballgame, so to speak.
It would break the cycle now, and it would build relationships and their families back and reconstruct these things that are so important. I wish I would have had it in 2007. In 2007, when I was 27, my kids were younger, I could have maybe obtained custody of them and built relationships with them. Right now, I don't even get to see those kids, and it's been 10 years.
If something like this was probably in my hand when I walked out the door, I probably would have went straight somewhere and applied for something that I actually needed, but I didn't do that. It's life-changing. You have no opportunities that you can even apply for things, that you can even get health care, job placement.
We have one of the lowest workforce participation rates, which means those are able-bodied citizens that could be working, but they're not. It's often because we have one of the highest incarceration rates due to nonviolent crimes, and we don't just incarcerate more than other states, but we tend to recidivate more than other states.
Jobs are an important piece. Without an ID, you can't get a job. And I know Kentucky, like Many other states are hurting economically.
There are employers that are willing and able and motivated to hire and be a fair chance employer. And we're asking those coming out of the incarceration system, returning, to go on those interviews and dress nice and say the right things. But then we end the interview with asking for a proper form of identification, which is their mugshot from their previous life that they've already paid debts to. So how fair is it that we're setting them up for an interview process where the identification card they're showing is a picture of their mugshot?
90% of these incarcerated people are coming back to our communities. If they're not successful when they come out, they're going to commit more crimes. They're going to cause more damage to our communities. So unless we give them a right foot out the door, we're just hurting ourselves by not caring about it.
It takes $8.7 million to run this organization. And so if we can get folks to take a bite out of that recidivism rate, which is typically 13 times an offender will come back into custody before they finally get on the right track, so to speak, that benefits everybody, not only the offender and their family who suffer when they're incarcerated, but also every taxpayer that pays taxes, both locally and in the state of Kentucky, will benefit from the fact that we're trying to affect some positive change with regard to reentry.
You pay both ways. You can pay a small amount and actually lead to a successful, productive member of society, or you can pay a large amount and keep them locked up forever.
The cost is going to be absolutely minimal compared to the benefit. I mean, like I said, the IDs are not expensive, and they don't cost, a fraction of what it costs to house an inmate. So if you can get them out there, get them working, get a bank account, get them set up for success, then they're not going to come back.
So one of the things that was important to me as soon as I got appointed was finding ways to do something different. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten.
We make an appointment, and the inmates are brought over at 7 a.m. I have staff there who takes care of them, issues those for them. They get their picture made, they get their ID, they leave. We haven't had one problem. I mean, it really just hasn't been an issue in any way whatsoever.
Honestly, I don't think people know how easy it is to incorporate something like this. It does come down to the community, and we have great leaders in Warren County. So once they understood it, all it was then is setting up a simple system and get it done.
It's actually not as much of a cost as you think, because IDs really are not that expensive, and we've done close to over 100 of them, and that's a small drop in the bucket, compared to some of the other things that we're doing on the councils.
After June of 2022, no circuit court clerk's office will issue any driver's license or IDs whatsoever. The Transportation Cabinet is 100% taking over all license and ID issuances. It needs to be something that they're working with the jailers with statewide to continue to do, because the benefits will always outweigh the cost.
Kind of the slogan that we use in reentry is making successful reentry a reality. They're going to reenter society. I mean, when their time is done, they're going to exit this place, they're going to get their discharge papers from the state, and they're going to leave here. That's reentry. But successful reentry means that they've got to have all these things available to them, they've got to have a plan, and most importantly, they have to be willing to carry out that plan.
If it wasn't for programs like this one, I feel like if I had to go back out them doors and not have a plan, I feel like I would just want to come back. Because, it's easy to come to jail and stay here because you have everything you need here. But it's a different thing when you got to go out and live life and be productive. That scares me a lot, But I feel like I'm ready. I mean, I come from a background of, not never really having nothing. And, but I've learned here that just because you came from a certain background, that doesn't determine what you're going to do in the future.
I've been incarcerated a couple of times in my life, and last time I didn't get the chance to, get this ID. So whenever I walked out these doors, like it took me about maybe a couple months to actually go and get an ID, but then I wound up with warrants and stuff like that. So it's That's why I'm coming right back here.
I mean, when I get out of here, I have everything. You know, I have a support group, I have everything I need, all the tools I need to make my life again, you know. So, and that's important. You know, most people get out of here with nothing. They have nothing, and they'll go right back into that lifestyle, you know, and it's everything to get out of here with a new start, you know. And it all starts with an ID. You know, that's one of your first building blocks of getting out. So, you know, I think that's very important.
We owe this to ourselves to start working together and really be bringing about what's best for the Commonwealth state of Kentucky.
If we can get state legislators to look at the importance of a state ID program and reentry efforts as a whole, then everybody can benefit. And you'll see a positive impact on the amount of money being spent and also the amount of change in those offenders' lives.
I think Kentucky is in the right moment with the right leaders to figure this out now.
The elected officials in these county places, the, you know, governor, everybody in the state of Kentucky needs to get on board. We need to all make a change.